Hello. I am really feeling drawn to read on Jared Kushner. Jared, I sleep in a blazer Kushner. I was looking at his astrology, and it really does explain a couple of things. So yes, he has a Capricorn sun, which means an emphasis on work and status, expensive things. It's the Pisces moon that makes him seem somewhat soft. However, it's his Mars in Aquarius that is really done him in. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, which is the rebellious planet, the rebel. But it's also futuristic and robotic. When he tries to stand up and show his masculine side, it's robotic. So I thought that was interesting because I can see it now, because it didn't quite make sense before. I should start doing the occasional astrology video, because I love astrology and it explains a lot of things. Anyway, that seems to be the missing piece of that. The other thing about Kushner, and probably one of the reasons I feel drawn to read on him, is because the transit he's going through right now is Pluto, which is way out there, moving across where his sun was when he was born. So it's Pluto transiting his natal sun. I have had this happen to me. It happened to me when I was 16. It burned my life to the ground. I don't wish it on anyone. I wouldn't wish it on Trump, and you know how I feel about him. The energy I am getting from Kushner right now is someone who is, they're not deer in the headlights, but he's terrified. But all of his life, terror is not something you show. So he just lets that feeling of terror just wash over him. And he just holds himself very, very still. That's what I'm getting. Deutsche Bank, which was just raided for money laundering again. There's some talk about them turning over some questionable transactions that Kushner made, or were made for Kushner. A man who is going to be sorely disappointed that he can't wear boat shoes in prison. No. See, I pulled this up, and I can just see the edge of this card underneath it, so I know what's underneath it, and that's the truth. This is the facade. It isn't like, oh, you can, you just pull off this facade. No, he's got this thing glued down. But if you wrench off the facade, you get just immense poverty, emotional poverty within his family that he grew up in. His needs were not met, and he's terrified of being poor, and he knows what he's done, and he knows that he could go to jail for a long time, and he's scared, but he has this glued down. But then I'm being drawn to this. I've got cards down here, guys. But he's going to take charge. He's going to do something about it. He's going to be fine. That's the... Goodness, that really feels like the card for the reading. That's him. Just stoic, faced, deal with what's in front of him. Don't let anyone or anything in. In the past, he has dealt with some very, very shady people. This is generally the thief card, but this feels like his overseas partners. All the garbage he went through, all the possibly illegal things he did to get money to get out from underneath all the debt from 666 Fifth Avenue. Center of the reading is his relationship with Ivanka, which makes sense because how much of this would have come to light if he hadn't gotten into bed with Ivanka and her rock star father. Base of the reading, his children, and the business, the Kushner business, everything he's built. And this again feels like him, that he's the one who's had to step up and craft things to keep everything going. So much fell on his shoulders when his father went to prison, hanging above him. And this isn't just above the reading or above, this feels like it's hanging. Freedom or doom, freedom or doom, freedom or doom. It's just flipping back and forth. Almost like they're one car, like a coin. And his mind's doing this. All right, near future. That's him. That's not Trump. So often that card comes up as Trump, but no, that's him. That's Kushner. Yeah, this is ugly. Ooh, the energy's ugly. It's the kind of fear that makes your blood cold. Yeah, it's just. I'm feeling cold suddenly, really, really cold. That kind of, literally when you go into emotional shock and you almost stop thinking and your body goes cold. It's, well, the home environment, he's going to have to leave. He's going to have to leave his home to go live in a very barren place, a place over here with no gold, no hard things to sit on, but it's so hard. If you knew you had this hanging over you, the question is, what do you do? How do you set up your life for this possibility and still hold on to that's not easy. He got himself into this because as much as I blame his father for a lot of stuff, ultimately he's an adult. It was his decision to keep on this path and to do these things, hopes and fears. He's hoping that it'll just be a normal kind of legal struggle, and it won't be that hard, and he'll be fine. What other people see? The golden boy trying to buy his way out. He at least did. I imagine he still does, but he did have better lawyers than Trump by a long shot. Then again, Trump's getting his lawyers out of a gumball machine, where you put in a whole quarter, you get a little plastic sphere, crack that open. Oh, look, my lawyer. Final outcome. Oh, yeah, really cold. This is jail. This is saying goodbye. This is saying goodbye to Ivanka. Almost like it's for the last time. I don't know how long he's going to be in jail, but I do think I don't think their relationship can. It's just going to put such a strain on their relationship. And then he has time to think, and being in prison and being away from all the pressures he's been under. King of Cups is a water sign. So this is him finally being able to hold, to become more himself. He doesn't have to deny that Pisces moon all the time, the softer emotions he has inside. Look, I'm not saying prison's a picnic. Not at all. What I'm saying is that he can become more himself without that constant influence from his family. Because he's used to bullying. I'm getting that very strongly. He was bullied in school because he was so effeminate. He's used to bullying. He can put up with ridicule. Mr. What I Wouldn't Give for a Pinot Noir, prison is going to be very, very cold. Cold emotionally, cold physically, cold. Everything about it is cold. And he's isolated. People may visit, come and go, but he's isolated, just surrounded by swirling emotions. But he's going to have a lot of time to think, obviously. And this man and that man have very different energy. This is training. This is what he's been trained to be. This is the person he is. His natural energy. He's going to change in prison. And again, like I said, I'm not saying that prison's just this lovely thing where you can show emotion. Of course you can't show that much emotion in prison. Well, his family relationships feel so toxic. And he has had to gird himself against the people around him for so long that it's different, but it's not like 100% different. Does that make sense? Cold, very, very cold. They've got so much, and I'm you can't see it on camera, but I'm like automatically pulling my arms in to protect my torso. He's very much gonna face the prospect of beatings in prison, but it's also they're pulling in so much information from overseas. The plea deal he's going to be offered is, but the word that's coming into my mind is pathetic. Then the long cold winter, completion of his old life. This guy, seriously, I'd say he's toast, but it's too cold to be toast. He's frozen toast. It was toasted and then it's frozen solid. The man is going to be frozen white bread. And someone else who's angry at Trump, like Manafort is. Trump's going to be able to hold on to some things. Things are going to get passed down. Well, things that Kushner thinks are going to be passed down through the Trump family. Whereas he himself is, as he sees it, going to be left with nothing. But even with Trump in such a good place, things are going to happen very, very quickly. And I feel like this is kind of almost showing up out of the blue. It's almost like Trump can only see those two cards. And then suddenly that shows up. Decisions. Money, cold, hard to breathe. I'm remembering back to when they won the presidency. Oh, he's going to think about this a lot. These two cards feel very much connected. He's going to think about this a lot. If I hadn't done it. If only I hadn't done it. If only I should have stayed in New York. I should have stayed in New York. I should have stayed away from this. The investigators have so much against him. What the heck were you doing thinking about setting up a back channel communication to Russia in the Russian embassy? How stupid could you be, Biff? I don't know if you ever watched Ren and Stimpy, but Kushner, you idiot. That's a hope card, but it doesn't feel right. I think these are like his father or other people around him giving him false hope. But then there's the government, investigators, government. He worked so hard, and it's all that hard work is going to land him in prison. Prison. This is bad. There is so much against him. And this doesn't feel like a country club prison either, because there's so many, he's going to be in there for so many years. I mean, not like the rest of his life, but I almost feel like he's in more trouble than Junior. He's ultimately going to be in more trouble. Is Kushner going to be in more trouble than Don Jr.? Okay. It almost feels like my guides laughed. Basically, when you're in this situation, you're this kind of person in jail. Who cares what happens to somebody else? Other than Trump, whom he's going to blame heavily. Heavily blame. He's not innocent here. I'm not saying that. It's just, it's such a blow. And this feels like Kushner looking at Trump Jr. kind of like Junior's going to topple. Junior's going to topple. And it feels to Kushner like you're going to the gallows and there's somebody else going to the gallows too. Missing what he had. Whew, this is a deep pit. This whole thing is a deep pit. All right, well, that's Kushner. Deep hole. And it's going to feel like they've put him in a deep hole and they're going to throw away the key. And the bad food, the meager access to little luxuries, shampoos and soaps and all those things that we take for granted, let alone someone who's grown up like that. Yeah, it's bad. These feel worthless. It's like this is so bad that whatever is still standing feels worthless. All right, this is just dark. This is just dark and awful. And it's all Trump's fault, quote unquote. It's all Trump's fault. It's all Trump's fault. It's all Trump's fault. Everything is Trump's fault. Kushner turning his jumpsuit into a lovely orange blazer. All right, well, we'll see what happens. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. And thank you for all your kind comments. They mean a lot. All right, thank you.